They said actually, the internet said actually. Okay, this right here is going to be the ovary. These little finger-like projections are going to be the fimbrate. The name of this tube along here is going to be the fallopian tube or ovarian tube or the oviduct. Okay, it's leading to this structure right here, which is going to be the uterus. Okay. First off, these are the paraurethral glands. Okay, greater vestibular gland, and the lesser vestibular gland. I'm just focusing on the greater vestibular gland here in lab. Okay, I talked about the function of the greater and lesser in lecture. Here in lab, we're just worried about the greater. Okay. Now, this again is the pubic bone. As we turn this over, actually this last piece, this right here, just to make sure that everybody's aware, and you can always flip it over to the other side, this is the urinary bladder. A way to know this is the urinary bladder is this tube right here. Remember, we don't have a vas deferens in the female. We only have a ureter that looks like that. So that's going to be the ureter, and it's going to be the outside of the urinary bladder. If we flip this over to the other side, the name of the muscle right here, being that this is the urinary bladder, so if I say identify the organ, it's urinary bladder. If I say identify the muscle, it's detrusor muscle. If I say identify the bumps, it's going to be what? Rugae. The name of this is just simply urethra. Okay? Just simply urethra. Okay? External urethral sphincter. Excuse me, internal urethral sphincter, external urethral sphincter. And there's another, the one over here actually has the better version of it, more likely the way that I'm going to use it. Okay? This is actually labia minora right here. And this right here is the pubic symphysis, that's the cartilage. Here we have the uterus. This whole area right here is going to be the vagina. The vaginal canal is the opening in the center of it, so that's the vaginal canal. Okay? The cervix, now I know a lot of people have questions about the cervix and where it's located because we have a typical view of the way that it looks like. This right here is the cervix that goes from here to here. So all of this is the cervix. Okay? The outer part that when they do a pap smear, the way a pap smear works is that the cervix looks like this. Okay? It's longer. And then what they do is they take this plastic piece and it's long like this and has a little part that's going to scrape against the cervix. So they insert it right there in the cervical canal. And then what they do is they scrape along the surface of the cervix. So the part that they're scraping against other model. The ureter and kidney follows the same thing as the male reproductive model, the same organization. Just to make sure we review this, this is the pubic symphysis. The name of this right here is going to be the mons pubis. Okay, that's the mons pubis. This right here is going to be the labia majora. That's the labia minora. This right here is the clitoris. This right here is the urinary bladder. Okay, and just above it and a bit posterior is going to be the uterus. I'm just doing this to give you some organization. This right here is going to be the urethra. This right here is going to be the external urethral sphincter, and this here is going to be the internal urethral sphincter. Okay, here's the vaginal opening. Here is the sigmoid colon. Here is the cervix, and again the cervix goes to here. If I ask you what is the pink layer here, your answer is going to be endometrium. If I say what's the name of this red structure here, you say myometrium. If I say what's the name of this structure here, myometrium. And what's the name of this structure right here? Myometrium. If I say peri, it's on the outside. Okay? The thing that they don't have on this one, which is probably just a slightly different version of the same model that they produce, so this is probably a little mismatched, is that we have the 3 here and 2 on the other one. Okay? Endometrium is this pink right here, and the perimetrium, again, on this model, and the perimetrium's on the outside. Everything in between has to be what? Myometrium. The exception is the blood vessels. Okay? We have the arteries and the veins. Yeah?
Your point for fundus?
So you don't need to know the fundus. Okay? The fundus is going to be right up here. It's the same idea with the stomach. If you remember, the stomach was that bulbous part on the top where we talked about gas sometimes being located in that area. fundus, and then the rest of this is the body, but you don't need to know that, okay? If I ask you what is the name of this space here, answer cervical canal. If I say what's the name of space here, that's the internal os. If I say what's this area or opening here, it's the external os, okay? Here we have the broad ligament. We have the, and actually it's something I didn't do on the other one. I did it last time, I don't think I did it this time. We have the ovarian artery and the ovarian vein, okay? Obviously it's going to be synonymous in the male with the exception of calling it testicular artery and testicular vein, okay? And then the fimbriae and the rest of that's just a little too hard to see in here. It matches this exactly, okay? And I think I've pretty much gone through everything. I don't think there's anything that I've missed. Yes?
This is the external, the whole red line?
No, not this. The whole thing's called the urogenital diaphragm. This piece right here, here's the urethra. What controls the opening of that urethra is going to be this sphincter right here called the external urethral sphincter. Remember, sphincter is muscle. Okay, every time you hear sphincter, you think to yourself muscle. Okay? Yes.
Round ligament?
Round ligament, yeah, the round ligament's labeled number 29. Okay, it's labeled number 29 in there. It's a little hard to see. I'll spin it around so everybody can see.
Thank you.
Okay, you're welcome. There's the round ligament. There's the round ligament. Okay, and you can see the ovarian ligament. Okay, I'm sort of flicking at it with my stick. Okay, without hitting anybody. Okay, the other one is going to be the ovarian ligament, which is at the tip. Notice the ovarian ligament runs in the same direction as the ovarian, the oviduct, okay, or the ovarian tube or fallopian tube. So that's it right there. Okay.
Professor,
Yes.
what was that over here?
Perimetrium, but the whole thing is the uterus. So if I say what's the organ, uterus. If I ask what's the layer, perimetrium. Yep. So it's really important to read the questions. Okay. There have been times when I've noticed as I've been grading exams, I've gone over it with a few people here, where you didn't. It's not that you didn't know the answer; you didn't know what to answer. Okay. You put down something different than what I was asking for. Okay. And a couple people I spoke with realized, oh, why did I make that mistake? Okay. And it's not that you don't know the material. Sometimes it's just that you wrote down what you thought I wanted differently. Any questions?
Suspensory ligament is on that wall.
Suspensory, it is, but I will never test it to you on this one. Okay? It's so small, it would be impossible. Okay? And not fair. I don't want to do that. Any
Can you
questions?
just go over the external urethral and internal urethral sphincter again?
Sure. And I should go through internal urethral orifice and external urethral orifice as well. Everybody want to click the cameras again? Everybody good? Okay. Here's the internal urethral orifice. It's flanked on either side by the internal urethral sphincter. So if I say what's the muscle here, the answer is what? Internal urethral sphincter. If I say what's the opening, the answer is what? Internal urethral orifice. If I say what is the name of this opening here, external urethral orifice or external urethral meatus, and I say what's the name of this muscle right here, it's called external urethral sphincter. See? So when I say the word muscle, you're thinking what? Sphincter. When you're thinking opening, you're thinking what? Orifice or meatus. Does everybody get that? Okay. Are there any other questions? Go ahead, ask.
Can we do that one?
Sure.